There we go. So we're just going to start by inviting Father God into our presence and into this moment, into my soul, into my beingness, my consciousness, my subconsciousness, my superconsciousness, all parts of me, all aspects of me, all time periods of me, past, present, future. And ask that God unite all of my being, all my parts, all my self spread all over, and bring me into this time and bring me into this moment. Where I introduce myself. I think I should introduce myself first. I walk in two realms. I walk in the realm of the physical, and I also walk in the realm of the spiritual. I am walking in two different worlds simultaneously that I am conscious of. There's probably many more worlds that I'm also acting in or participating in. But my consciousness, what I'm aware of now on a day-to-day basis, is in the two worlds of the physical and the spiritual. So I am making that, and have been making for the last 30 years, my life. I've dedicated it to knowing God, completely knowing God, and knowing His kingdom. That's what I've been about. I'm going, okay, like if God's in the spirit kingdom and I'm in the physical kingdom, I want to be closer to Him. So I want to learn as many laws as I can about the spiritual kingdom. And the reason I want to learn so many laws about the spiritual kingdom is I want to learn how to live there. I want to learn all there is to learn about the spiritual kingdom where God lives, the spirit. Because I know I'm from there. I know my origin is from the spirit kingdom. And so I just want to learn more about myself. So when I feel I know myself here in the physical plane, then I can move to the kingdom of heaven and learn about what's going on there. But the journey to knowing the self in the physical is a very difficult journey. And the reason it's very difficult journey, knowing the self in the world of the physical, is because we are so... the word I'm hearing beliefs, but it's the world of the physical is very fraught with predators, with belief structures, with emotionally shut off people, very ill people that have not awakened. And because they have not awakened, they can do a lot of damage. So all you spirit beings, just be aware. You're in the spirit world. If you're entering into the spirit kingdom and you're working on... I'm looking in the mirror above me. If you're walking in the spirit kingdom and you are in the physical world, it can be harsh. It can be harsh being in the physical world, especially if you've been abused as a child, especially if you've had and still continue to have difficult relationships with your family of origin. That's particularly difficult, but it can be overcome. And how you overcome releasing the ties you have with your family, your spirit of origin. It's a process. It won't happen overnight, but basically it's a process of coming into the awareness of the awareness that you were born as a light being into the world of the physical, with no guarantee that the family that you would come through would also resonate or shine like you will. The chances are very slim you've got two lights in one family. because usually one light is given to one family, which reaches a certain group of individuals. So you usually stand alone. So a spiritual being coming to the world of the physical is going to encounter all sorts of those issues. Abuse, not getting along with your family, being different, not studying, not paying attention, doing well at school. Maybe some of them who are bored and aren't seen can become destructive, or they can isolate because they don't see any hope. They just are born into this world of the physical, and they're not equipped to deal with a lot of the stuff. But you must know that you wouldn't be brought here if you weren't equipped. So whatever problems you've encountered in the world of the physical at the onset of your journey, you must go back and remember who you are, who you came in as. And that's a journey. And the crying and the sadness and the grief that when you get here and you realize not everybody loves each other. Not everybody down here loves each other. And as a light being coming into this planet, you're coming here and you're going, holy crap, why do people have to live like this? Why do people have to be mean to each other? Why can't we just love one another? Why are they trying to kill me and take away my spirit, my sense of self, and my connection to God? Why are they doing that? And a lot of the dark energy when you first get here can stop the process, and you just feel so alone you stop fighting and you just conform, which is understandable and forgivable if you haven't reached out. But if you're reaching out, just trust God will guide you to reach out to the people you need to contact and the other spirit beings you need to make acquaintance with, because they're there waiting for you. You didn't come alone. You have a spirit family. You just have to go find them. There's a great spirit family meeting in Toronto called the Tribe, and I quite like them because they're all one family at the time of Christ. And this lifetime they've gravitated to one another to be together again. How great is that? And then I had another group of people come from the time of Christ that were Jairus' family. And Jairus was a good friend of Jesus, so his whole family, all his Jairus' children, reunited at my home a couple weeks ago, and they didn't even know that they were part of one family, and that they all knew Christ. They all carry his energy. So I am coming forward actually with a bit of excitement in me. I guess the excitement in me is the people from the past at the time of Christ are making their way back to us and are here now. And they're starting to remember who they were at the time of Christ, or remembering a connection at least, remembering a feeling when they get with other people that were there from the time of Christ. They start to feel something inside. So they know there's a connection. That's what they know. A lot of them do not have the memories of the actual pictures of that lifetime yet. But some people are starting to do that now. Isn't that amazing? And why it's amazing? Because we're in the time right now where we're proving the Christian doctrine to be valid. And how we're bringing validity to the Christian doctrine is, they say at the time of Christ that those people who believed in Christ were then made eternal, like they could live forever. And now we're coming back saying, yeah, it's true, we live forever. 2,000 years ago, we believed in Christ. So we have eternal life, and we're back here again just to show you. But they have to do the work. They have to be the ones to remember who they are. But God will help them through this. And I'm hearing the most amazing story. Happened about 2 months ago at this house, where I had been living under the illusion that I was the Roman soldier who pierced Christ's side on the cross at the time of Christ. And I believed that for 20 years. 20 years. And you'd think someone who has these abilities that I do, have been blessed with by God, would figure out, hey, that doesn't feel right that I was the wrong shoulder. How come I didn't know earlier that that was not a true thing? And I think it's because it was kept from me. It's the only thing I can conclude. Until it was time for me to understand who I really am, because understanding who you are gives you power to move forward. It's like you awaken to yourself in the physical, then you move to awaken to yourself in the spiritual. And when you awaken in the spiritual, it's like you now have the knowing of who you are, and you don't want to go back. You don't want to forget that you worked all that hard to find out who you were in the kingdom of the spirit, and then turn around and walk away from it, because it doesn't work that way. If you spend your time in your life pursuing the spiritual path and spiritual journey, it will lead you to a truth of who you are. And the journey then becomes, can I accept it? Can I accept knowing who I am as a soul? What if you're a great soul? What if you're a great soul? What if you're such a great soul that you go into the fear of, who's going to believe me that I'm this great soul? I'm this great spirit. Who's going to believe me? And I think the whole thing is it doesn't matter who believes me. It matters that I believe me. Because if I have done the work I've done, and I'm confident in my work and my research, which I am, and I make a discovery in the world of the spirit that is so beautiful, so amazing, so profound, I want to share it. And I discovered that a year and a half ago, 2014, February 7th, I discovered I had a twin flame. And the other half of me is Jesus. Because I know who I am, and God told me in 2004 I was the Holy Grail. At the time He told me, I didn't really quite grasp it or understand it, so I've had to educate myself what that entails and what that means. And it takes a while to integrate some messages you receive from Spirit. So hearing I was the Holy Grail and discovering I was the Holy Grail are two different things. How I discovered it was God brought me my mirror. God brought me my twin flame. God brought me my match to myself. So at the beginning, the onset, we're one with God. We're both male, female energies. And then they say that coming down to the physical, we split into male, female energies. So that being the case, not all times or all incarnations for you as the feminine half or the masculine half involve you reuniting with your other half. I think that there's very few incarnations we have where both sides of the male and the female whole soul are walking the earth plane at the same time. I think it's a rarity. I think it's brought forward when the planet's in trouble. I think it's brought forward from the ancient ones, the ones who carry the wisdom. They bring the whole souls together to meet, unite, and for the purpose of having sexual union, to create the energy from that union that is a love frequency energy that is yet to be detected, monitored. The scientific research on the vibrational frequency of a twin soul united having sex, I think their ability to create love, energy, love frequency is what is needed to heal the planet. And this phenomenon that is occurring on the planet, whether it is happening to just many, many people. The challenge for twin flame couples is this. You might awaken, or God, Spirit will awaken you to the fact you have a twin flame, or at least the other half of your twin flame is going to be awakened that they have one, and they'll be brought together with you. And if someone sits down and says to you, I think you're my twin flame, you sit down and listen. You sit down and you listen to what they're saying, because that's a very important message. And when you are out of touch with the world of receiving spiritual messages and you're immersed too much in the physical, you'll miss it. You'll miss the importance of that. You'll miss it's an opportunity being given to you when the twin flame comes along. So regardless whether where you live in the planet, what color you are, what age you are, as long as you're, I don't think a twin flame would come too far out of balance in terms of uniting with their sexuality, like a 15-year-old and 75, 80-year-old. I would say that feels bad. So, however, I don't like to make any judgment because I'm always learning, and it's just only my knowledge so far to date is it's not too much of a gap age-wise, because there has to be a genuine desire, I think, as well. And Spirit will put it in you. Don't worry. It doesn't matter what the person looks like. Once you are aware that they're your twin and you're their twin, you'll receive the knowledge that you're to come together sexually. And it's just a matter of the twin flames giving it permission to happen. Oh no, I'm married, or it's too far away, or you're too old, you're too young, I don't believe in your religion. These are all peripheral things in the physical. They mean nothing. You're going to go by how you feel and be drawn towards your twin flame. And you won't be able to think of anyone or anything else. That's how you'll know too. It'll be on you like, whoa, like you cannot get your mind off this person. And it's serious. It's meant to be serious. And the reason it's meant to be serious is because it's a calling. You're hearing a calling from God. Now awaken up, twin flames, and pay attention. Because if you're being called, how lucky are you? It's just an honor to be called to be a twin flame. It's a complete honor from God. And the truth of the matter is, it is God saying to you, you wonderful little spiritual being, I love you so much, and I'm so, so proud of you for following the spiritual journey to try and find me. And God would say to you, as your reward for loving me and trying to find me and please me and do all these wonderful things, I'm going to bring you your other half, because then I can come down into the world of the physical and have sex with you and make love to you. And I can be one with you in the world of the spirit. In the world of the physical, I can be one with you. Sorry, I'm from the world of the spirit, and I can be one with you in the world of the physical. I'll find a body, I'll come through it, and be one with you. And it's really God saying, you're the Virgin Mary. You're the one who I am able to plant new ideas in. You're the one that has pursued me and wants to love me so much, I'm going to find a man for you. And God found Joseph for Mary and said, I love you so much, I'm going to come through Joseph and I'm going to be one with you. And that is a union of God. That's the difference. That's not a man union. A decision. That's a decision to marry in the physical world is different to marry than it is to marry in the spiritual world, because God marries you in the spiritual world. You have no choice. God has predestined your spiritual twin flame, and when it's time to reunite you with the being that God can come through, you'll know it, and you'll hear it, you'll feel it, and it'll be evident to you. But the one clue for me that stood out more than anything in the world, because I was married at the time when I met my twin flame, and I had to make the decision to walk the world of the physical laws or the spiritual laws. And being a spiritual explorer and adventurer, I totally went for the spiritual route because it was too cool. It was I had to find out what was going to happen. But the day I met this one man who was my twin flame, and I'm sitting across from him in a restaurant, and the face of Christ came out of this man holographically, looked at me and looked at my face and says, Jesus, the picture of Jesus came out of him and goes, I'm in here, and backs up into his face. So I'm like sitting there at a table going, did I just see what I saw? And here's this man who I never met before, and the face of Christ came right out of him, and then said, I'm in here, and back it goes. And I'm like, oh my God, that didn't just happen. And it did. And not only that, but the very next day, we're hearing messages, twin flame, soul half, found your mate, partners for life. He was downloading, I was information, he was receiving messages, I was going back through the winds of time to make sure this guy I'd met the night before, who Jesus came out of, he said he didn't have a twin flame. I thought, oh, the poor guy. So I go the next day and have a meditation and say, God, can we not find this guy a twin flame? And I asked to go back through the winds of time. Sure enough, I'm sitting there with the winds of time blowing on my face. I go, okay. And I was back at the dawn of creation. And here's this guy, Dave, who ends up being my twin flame that we don't know about it. And I'm saying, couldn't he have a twin flame? And then this blob of unformed mass of gray lands on this one side of him, on the left side. And I go, oh, that's not her. And a big unformed gray matter blob landed over here, and I went, no, that's not her. And then this beautiful blonde with a big smile, happy face, and this goddess gown and a gold belt and a maroon kind of sash, boom, just landed spread eagle in front of him. And I went, that's her. And I found out later on that that was me. So I have had to come into a lot of knowing in the last little bit. And coming into the knowing that I am the other half of the Christ. I'm the female half of the Christ, whole soul, twin flame. But that Jesus is my husband and I'm his wife. So, like I said, I thought I was a Roman soldier for a long time. This man came to my house 3 weeks ago. Yeah, I was starting to tell you that. And sat down at my table and wanted to know who he was at the time of Christ. And I didn't know. And I remember sitting across from him, and I don't know what I told him. He said something, but he said he saw the light of God in my eyes and knew that everything was going to be all right. And then within a little short time, well, who were you at the time of Christ, Sandra? Well, I was a Roman soldier who pierced Christ's side on the cross. Oh, and he says, well, who was I? And I said, well, who were you? Let me know. And he had said something, he read the book of John, and it was the only true gospel. It's the only one worth reading. That's all he'd read of the Bible. I went, oh, okay. That's fine. And then he said, I keep seeing Jesus on the cross. And I said to him, well, were you one of the people that put him there? And he goes, no, I don't feel that. I feel I was there looking at him, watching him. And then all of a sudden he started going. And we couldn't stop it. And we couldn't help. We couldn't help what they were doing. And he said, you have to understand. And then he looked at me and he was pleading with me. Sandra, you have to understand. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't do anything to stop what they were doing to Jesus, or I would have been killed too. I would have been killed too. And they were in such fear of their life that they couldn't do anything. They weren't meant to. And so this man is just remembering everything at the foot of the cross, and all of a sudden I go, oh my God, I said, you're John. You're John. You're Jesus' disciple, the one who wrote the book of John. And all of a sudden, he remembered. And he started telling us about how Jesus used to come to him, confide in him, talk to him. He would come for counsel from him, and he was a very level-headed guy, and he would help Jesus. And he started remembering all this. And it was amazing because I was like, wow, this guy is actually remembering that past life. And then he looks at me and he goes, and who told you that you were the Roman soldier, by the way? And I said, wow, these couple ladies 20 years ago. He goes, when you told me that, he said, I started laughing inside. I'm laughing inside. And then he just looks at me and goes, Sandra, don't you know who you are? And I said, well, and he says, you're Jesus' wife. He says, I remember you. You're Mary Magdalene. I remember you. And I knew it in the moment, and his eyes, and it just felt everything I'd been working on and coming to learn fell into place. So, that's a lot of work I've done to come to that realization and that allowance of stepping into that state of being where I can allow the level of Holy Grail energy to enter into my body and to speak to you through that frequency. So that's why I guess I saved introducing myself to the last of this video, because it's a big deal. No ego there. Just had to grow into allowing myself to be the beautiful, amazing, feminine, female mirror for Jesus. For being there to love him, to look at him, to mirror back God as he mirrored back God to me. So I spent a year with him in the physical from 2014 to 2015, coming to help him know that he was Jesus, and he helped me come to know that I was Mrs. Jesus. So we spent a year together, and it was awesome coming into this knowing and this realization. So I will fill you in more on that story next time we speak. But it was important today to make my first bit of video on my own, sitting in my hall in my house. And just wanting to begin to talk and communicate so that we can become familiar with one another And I'm hoping as the video podcasts, or my video, I guess podcasts, I don't know, iPadcasts are coming through, we'll just see as the weeks go on if Mary Magdalene herself will come through me. I have been meditating here in this hall for the last number of months, and coming to know that the Grail energy comes through me. And sometimes I'm sitting here and Mary Magdalene's face will come right onto my face. And I go, wow, that's what she looked like. That's what she really looked like. Because the person of Mary Magdalene comes through me. So, yeah, hopefully down the road that'll happen. Okay, so I'll be in touch soon. Thank you for watching and listening and learning.